Come on, boys, eh? We back each other up for everything that we can do. Work to every first ball with every second ball. Come on, boys. Play our football.
Play to our strengths. No matter what position you are, if you can get back and help, do it.
We're building something special. So you've got 3 games to go. You get over the line. Do not come off it, eh? Always the standards. Always set the standards.
The shirt you wear means something. It's built on a tradition of history, of success. You care about everything that this football club means. You represent the shirt, you represent our fans, and you represent those who love you. You make them proud. What always struck me was when I came across people who were what I would call visionaries or people who stood out from the rest. They were always doing things in a different way, but with a purpose, you know, and that's what I wanted to do. I didn't just want to play football that was maybe in my eye pleasing to the eye, but wasn't going to be successful because A, that wouldn't be sustainable for me. I wouldn't have a career. I was determined to create the style of football that was pleasing and in many ways revolutionary, but also ultimately would be successful.
He's had a lot of success at club level in Australia and obviously with Australia as a national team as well. Even as a fellow Aussie, just to see him get maybe the recognition that he deserves over here and the success that he's had, and long may it continue.
Give him any sort of project and he'll make it successful, whether that is that reinvention of a club that demands trophies immediately. He's a serial winner and it's in his DNA.
He'll want to take the game to the opposition and believe that it leads in silverware, and that's what's so good about him. He'll get the players, the staff, the supporters, the city all go in the one direction.
The one thing I know about Hange is he's a serial winner. He's going to win wherever he goes and his track record will speak for itself.
At every club, whether it was here in Australia or overseas, he transformed those clubs through his character and his determination, his fierce competitiveness and a style of play that won over the supporters and also led to them winning titles.
He's got a brilliant balance of when to speak and when not to speak, and I think that keeps everyone on edge as well. He very much trusts his senior pros as well to get around the young lads and show them the right way and show them how to behave and how to train, and I think that's important in any good team.
As much as anything else, I love to win. I think that's where you get the enjoyment of seeing people's hard work coming to fruition. So, everything I've done towards the game style and the philosophy around the way we want to play, it's always been with the end goal of, I want to make this as unstoppable as it possibly can be.
Ange Postecoglou was born in Greece in 1965. But when he was only 5 years of age, his family emigrated to Melbourne, Australia, as his parents sought a better life for both him and his sister.
The Greek community was everything to Ange. The area he grew up in, inner Melbourne, largely populated by Greeks and Greek Australians. The football clubs he played with, well, there was only one football club, and that was South Melbourne FC. It was founded by Greeks in the mid-1950s, as well as the Greek church and our faith. All of these together were formative parts of his development as a person.
It is perhaps no surprise then that with that background, Ange Postecoglou understands what it is to have roots in an immigrant community in a foreign land. For that is the very DNA of Celtic Football Club.
I can relate to it. It was my experience. Going to a land where we struggled with the language, didn't know anybody. We struggled for every dollar and cent to sort of live our lives.
For the young Ange, football was more than just a game.
My major influence was obviously my father, his love of the game, and my inclination as a young boy to try and get close to him was through football, and that was our common interest, and inevitably he influenced my the way I looked at football, because he loved watching teams that were, attacking, and footballers that were attacking, and that obviously as a young boy, that influenced me, and then that influenced the way I kind of watch football and what I look for and what I enjoyed. That's kind of stayed as a constant through sort of both my playing career and coaching career.
The interrelationship between the South Melbourne Football Club and the Greek community is well documented. As Greek migrants, and Ange, who had arrived here as a young child, made South Melbourne Football Club his home.
There was a community of people who were going through similar experiences. Some have come out the other end and were quite, settled or successful, which gave my parents hope that, okay, if we stick at this, because it was obviously very hard at the beginning, they saw that the people who stuck it out sort of are part of this club, what life was like, and I think that encouraged them.
I know it formed an important part of his family, and they were all part of that South Melbourne community, that football community, from the time that he was a young child.
There was other sports or hobbies you could be passionate about and have a lot easier access to in Australia, and football wasn't one of those. It was definitely it was the sport of the immigrant mainly, and it was kind of imported into Australia. There wasn't a lot of time for me to spend with my dad in terms of, us bonding or sharing moments together. It was, like I said, football was the one area where we could, share that time, and he wanted to instill certain values in me, and probably the biggest one he wanted to instill in me was that you had to work hard if you were passionate about something.
By the age of 12, Ange Postecoglou knew that he wanted to be a manager. And remarkably, an opportunity to test himself arrived early when he took on the role as a coach for his contemporaries in the high school team.
I was totally obsessed with the game, and not just playing the game, but reading about the coaches and the tactics and everything that goes into it. So when I went to the school and it was totally disorganised, I couldn't do it. That wasn't, it didn't sit comfortable with me. So, I wanted it to represent everything that I knew about the game, and for me it was, being organised, to have a system to be, to play the game a certain way even at a young age. And I think it's bizarre to me why, but people actually listened to me back then. So.
From high school to South Melbourne FC, Ange became a one-club man, winning trophies and becoming captain.
I remember Ange telling us about his time with Ferenc Puskas as the coach of South Melbourne FC. And Ange telling us how Puskas continuously reminded him and the other players about move the ball, enjoy your football, go out there and entertain. And that's what Ange does.
Too often people say, they're disappointed when they meet their heroes. Well, he was one that not only were you not disappointed, but you're inspired about what it takes to be really a great human being.
As Ange entered his 30s, he started to think about a life in football beyond his playing career.
My playing career was almost a precursor to what I really wanted to do, and that was become a football manager. Because again, I'd been inspired by, whether it was Jock Stein or Bill Shankly or, Sir Matt Busby or all these great managers that I was reading about, that really intrigued me. I read just as much about the great managers of football as I did about playing the game. So for me, that was what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a football manager.
Upon retirement, Ange became assistant coach at South Melbourne. Then, in 1996, manager. I was fortunate to have joined the board roughly the same time that Ange was appointed as head coach at South Melbourne FC, and worked as vice president with him for 4 years during arguably our most successful period in club's history.
Ange is at the pinnacle of South Melbourne FC. We're talking about arguably the most successful football club in Australia, having won FIFA's Oceania Club of the Century. At the same time, Ange has been part of every title at a national level, whether two as players and two as a manager.
As you get older, you learn to appreciate these things a lot more, because you realise just how much of an influence they were into, the way my life's gone.
In 2000, Ange took on the considerable challenge of the Australian youth setup.
I was out of my depth in many ways, and I had to sort of really teach myself the art and the skill of coaching, because I think when you go into senior football, a lot of it's still about managing people, you know. When you work in the development space, it's really about teaching young people the game.
The journey started with Ange in 2004. It was a camp in Argentina, and it was in preparation for the Under-17 World Cup in Peru 2005. So within that, you know, shared some really special moments together, and I'd say it's the beginning of my PhD in coaching.
First impressions was there was no messing around. It was very direct. It was a man that was very clear in what he wanted to do and achieve with the group.
Yeah, the 7 years I had were tremendous from the aspect of me sort of upskilling myself in terms of coaching and coaching at sort of youth level and developing players, but also, again, because of my obsession with the game, I was fortunate that, you know, I travelled the world for 7 years, and I made sure wherever I went, you know, I call it my PhD in coaching.
The thing that was always very clear, no matter what game, didn't matter who we played against, was to instill that we would never play with fear in our game. And that was clear from day one.
It was only after I came out of that 7 years that I felt, okay, now I got a real clear idea of the kind of manager I want to be and how I'm going to do things.
One kick separating Brisbane Roar from their second trophy of the season. Enrique scores! Brisbane are the champions!
Post that, he went on to Brisbane Roar, and again took him a period to implement his philosophies, his structures, and had success within a couple of years, again going back-to-back champions.
He's not scared to make decisions. He did that at South Melbourne FC. He then did that at Brisbane Roar, where he came in and altered the playing list, wasn't frightened by the personalities, the national players that were there. That didn't deter him from his focus and his self-belief.
After a short spell at Melbourne Victory, Ange took over the Australian national side in October 2013.
It was challenging. I knew it would be. They'll often go for a foreign manager. When it's your own country, it becomes all-encompassing. Everything that affects the game affects you.
Obviously delighted that, you know, I was given an opportunity to work with Ange, because I'd have watched his work from afar, and at the same time it was 6 months before the World Cup in Brazil. So I was very fortunate to receive that call from Ange.
Our tempo, boys, our tempo, yeah? Start strong.
Come on, boys.
See how long they can keep up with you. Come on, boys.
That's it. Well done.
We had a natural understanding. The responsibility was given to me, but again, it was always about the collective and about what's going to be best for the group. And I did that role, and I was honoured to get that role, and he was the one that gave me that role. But it was always about, you know, the bigger thing and doing it as a group.
Ange was ambitious for success, and the opportunity arrived in 2015 when Australia hosted the Asian Cup.
He worked in a way that would make us all believe that we could win the Asian Cup on home soil, playing our way of football.
He knew what the role was going to entail. He had an awareness of it through all of his experiences as a manager. He knew what success could look like, and he knew how to get it. And I think that sort of clarity in thought has been pivotal in that success.
Ange Postecoglou has to be regarded as Australia's most successful football manager. I mean, who else has won the Asian Cup? No one. He's the first person to do that. He took us to a World Cup. He took South Melbourne FC to titles. He took Brisbane Roar to titles. All of these were achieved in very short periods of time.
It was a real challenging 4 years. I enjoyed it immensely. I took great pride in it. You know, we had success, which again has always been, you know, the driver for me to make sure we have meaningful success.
Having achieved perhaps the pinnacle honour of managing his nation, it was now time for a completely different challenge. And in Ange's case, that meant a change of culture as well as a change of country.
a lot of the things I'd relied on in my roles up to that date, and that meant, you know, things like, you know, being an effective communicator, being able to motivate people, you know, being real clear about my processes and my vision for how the game needs to be played. We're all going to get challenged in a country where, you know, communication was going to be taken away from me.
And no one's taking us too seriously at the moment.
ね、今のところまだいろんなところで自分たちを真剣に見ていない。
That's okay.
そんなのはね、関係ないよ。
Honestly, what's important for us is we keep doing what we're doing.
ね、一番大事なのはやってることを信じてやり続けることだ。
Every day, working hard.
ね、日々ハードワークをして、
Believing in our football.
自分たちのサッカーを信じ、
Believing in each other.
お互いを信じ合う。
Strong football, strong family.
ね、強いサッカー、強い家族。
Strong Marinos.
ね、強いマリノスとして。
They can't stop us.
それを出せれば誰も止めることはできない。
Today is our day.
今日は自分たちの日にして、
Our home.
自分たちのホームだ。
For our supporters.
サポーターのために
We give everything.
全てを出し切る。
Ange then led Yokohama F. Marinos to their first title in 15 years.
左足ティーラトン、ワンタッチ、ゴール！先制横浜。
The style of football that was played for 2018 and 2019 and the way that football got built, turned into success, was enormous for the country. It's definitely left an impact in the country, and Ange has left a massive imprint into a great football club.
There's no question with the language barriers, the cultural differences between Australia and Japan. It's a testament to his strengths, strength of character, focus, objectives, that he was able to achieve what he was able to achieve in Japan.
We had almost 4 years, 3.5 years there, and it was enormously satisfying that, I guess from a personal perspective, that I was able to conquer those things that I wanted to, but more importantly, just seeing the impact that had on not just the club, but the whole league there, in terms of the style of football we played and the success we had, you know, it's something that was obviously very special.
Celtic announced that Ange Postecoglou was to be the club's new manager on the 10th of June 2021. He was a bit of an unknown quantity to the Celtic support, but one man knew him well.
I would say there was an element of surprise, but just from the perspective that it was maybe a little bit unknown to people this side of the world, and but from a footballing perspective, then no, because I knew he had immense quality.
He's made for the big stage, and I think at the time he took over Celtic was for that football club the right time, and they found the right leader and the right coach that could bring him back to where they belong.
You know when someone like Celtic Football Club is interested and they are potentially giving you an opportunity. Of course I was thinking, wow, what a fit this is going to be.
We'd been tracking Ange for some time, and we were aware of his qualities as a leader, a coach and as a person. So we were confident and we believed in Ange that he would come here and bring success back to the club and to take us forward.
Media reaction in Scotland to Ange's appointment was in some quarters dismissive, but the new man in charge was in no doubt that he was ready for the job ahead.
The one thing I wasn't going to be was unprepared for this role. That's where probably people misunderstood me. I was more than prepared for whatever it was going to be, and inevitably you're always working on, not worst case scenario, because I always take a role and I believe I can be successful wherever I am, but you kind of know that there's going to be some rocky waters along the way, and you've got to be able to deal with that, and I've always felt comfortable I can be able to do that.
The first meeting we actually had a Zoom call, believe it or not. The manager was in isolation at the time, coming over from Japan, but was very calm, very calculated, very measured in everything that he was saying. I think earlier it was just a case of him kind of laying out his vision and his plan in terms of how he's seen things, panning out both this season and going forward. He's very clear in that. He spent a lot of time with us in terms of, what he wanted from us, what he expected from us.
Okay, we'll go with our combination play. So again, what's important? Ball speed's very important for us. Ball speed's number one.
Even when we're keeping possession, I want the ball to move slowly. What does that mean? When we pass it with purpose. We need movement, so the next pass is always available, and not too many touches on the ball. 1 or 2 touches.
I was aware of some of his work. I've actually seen a couple of podcasts, so I was aware of his teams, and obviously when I got word that he was coming in, just spent a bit more time analysing his teams and how they played, and straight away I was thinking, you know, this is going to be exciting. I think the players will enjoy this.
Come on, last 5 minutes of the game we score. We want to win. Come on, let's go. Last 5 minutes of the game. We want to win.
And the biggest thing I would say that he had straight away was buy-in from everybody. Very clear, very consistent in what he was looking for, which for us as coaches and as a staff, it was great for us.
Everyone's well aware I came here by myself. I didn't bring a group of people with me that could potentially spread the message a lot easier. I wanted people to see me.
We score our goals. We score our goals, we play our football. Okay? Everybody on the ball. Everybody sharp.
So the beginnings are really important. The interactions I have with players, with staff, board, fans is really important because they need to believe in me.
Pretty much straight into the deep end, you know, pre-season started straight away, but it actually pretty much started before he arrived. So training was ongoing, and then he just came in and put his stamp on that.
If our movement's good, our passing's good, the ball doesn't stop. Okay? That's going to be super important. And then, as I said, reaction if the move's dead. Just get it into your head. We never stop. We never stop. We'll stop at half time and we'll stop at the end of the game when we celebrate. But during the game, we don't stop.
It lets me go about my day-to-day goalkeeping stuff with the boys, but the principles of play that he's put into place are very rigid about how the goalkeeper's to play and how he's to play in this system.
He always gives the responsibility to the staff as well. You know, he's got his moments where he'll come in and he'll certainly say what he needs to say and he'll stamp his authority in that. You know, he expects everyone else to then carry that message forward for him.
I wanted to make sure right from the start that it was crystal clear that this is who we're going to be. Don't worry about the challenges we're going to have to overcome to get to that space, but from the first day, this is who we're going to be.
I did feel maybe a little bit of added responsibility this season going in, knowing that the message that he likes to get across and how exactly he wants his teams to play. And I did feel in moments, probably earlier on, I wouldn't say help in any way, but there were times where boys were kind of asking me questions about him and how he works and what he kind of wants in certain moments, and I was happy to kind of just reinforce the message a little bit, having had that experience.
That works if he's going to say good things about me, so which you never really know. But I've always had a decent relationship with Tom. You know, him being able to sort of, I'm hoping, reassure them that the path we were going to go on was worth following.
The relationship between a manager and his captain could also be crucial, and Ange now had a decision to make. So naturally, he took time to deliberate on it.
People say I take my time, but I didn't really, I knew, but I think part of the process was I wanted Cal to know that I chose him, not because I was told that he was the natural successor to Scott. And to be honest, after the first conversation and the first training session, I knew that he was the right person to be the leader.
My only job was trying to impress him as a football player and as a person. And I knew that every day, you know, it's the way I am when I meet new people in football. I just want to impress them straight away, and I think very quickly, you know, obviously we kind of size each other up, and I think you could see the relationship was going to be good.
In the early part of the rebuild at Celtic, the club were about to lose big-name performers, so it was clear where Ange had to focus his attention.
The main priority for me was just to get us to play a certain way, and for that to happen, just to get some players in who I believe could help us do that.
We had to get back to winning ways. It's that simple. We'd had a bad season. We had a squad that was coming to the end of a cycle, and we had a lot of business to do in the transfer window. But that's the job at Celtic. We've been there before. Even before Ange joined us, we were in touch with Ange when he was in Japan, working those priorities, transfer lists, and making sure we were ready to hit the ground running when he arrived.
It was a learning process for all, regardless if you've played the amount of games that Callum's played or if you were just signing. It was getting new ideas on, and it was about buying into it, I think, was the big one. And I think everyone did that from early on.
For myself, you know, the other full-backs, they had to adapt to the way, you know, the gaffer wanted to play. It was obviously difficult at the beginning. It's a completely new way of playing, but I've absolutely loved it. You know, learning that new role, you know, at times going inside and then obviously having to link up with your 10 as well in terms of when, you know, them coming out and me going in or vice versa. Having the confidence to go in and receive the ball in the positions as well, no matter what the circumstances are, was also something that was new to me. But you know, I've embraced it, and all the other boys have as well.
To give it back to Turnbull. Greg Taylor coming inside. What a chance now for David Turnbull. That will be the opening goal for Celtic. Assisted by Greg Taylor.
You don't need to just play the standard left back position. So if the space is on the inside, then you'll nip in there, and then if it's on the outside, it's trying to find it out there as well. So it's just about trying to play your small part within a team.
He's been terrific with me on a personal note as well, coming in and giving me the opportunity to play, installing that confidence that was maybe missing from last season, having not played a lot of games, and it's definitely put me in a very good place as well.
My role is create an environment for people like Anthony Ralston, who maybe has been denied, for whatever reason, the opportunity to be the best he can be. Just let him play the game. I give him, we give him the guidance and the tools to how we want to play, and then let him do it his way.
Having little time to settle in, Ange moved into the transfer market, bringing in new players, one of whom he admired whilst in Japan.
I knew what I was getting with Kyogo. I had no doubts he would be an outstanding player for us, and he was exactly the kind of player that the Celtic support would love.
He was the manager of Yokohama Marinos in Japan for several years, and we played against them a couple of times. I had an impression that they had a good style of football and were tough opponents to play against.
I wanted him to be the first one, because when that happens, then belief grows even further and exponentially, because people then just go, well, I wonder who his next signing is going to be, and they're more willing to back you, and then the club has a bit more comfort as well, so it was crucial for me.
Ange didn't have to prove anything to us. I mean, we believed in Ange from the outset, and what we wanted to do was to work with him to deliver on his ambitions and our ambitions for the team. I wouldn't say there was any particular pressure on the first signing, because we knew we had business to do during the window, and we're working on a number of options.
When I talk about building faith and trust, before the games sort of really kick in, how are people going to measure or judge me? And I thought the first way they're going to do that is with the players I brought in. That would be the first sort of judgment call on me as a manager and as a leader, in terms of the stuff I was saying, which is easy to say. Was that going to turn into actions?
He already knew my play style since we played against them in Japan. He told me to bring out my strong points. It is also required to bring physicality both in defense and attack, since it's important to our football.
Evander curls it into the area, it's knocked across, it's a chance, and it's in the back of the net, Onyedika.
There was a challenging period at the start of the season, but the most important thing for us as a club is to stay calm and together.
I think obviously when you have results that don't go your way, then of course the doubt creeps in of, are we going to be able to produce this level of football and get results at the same time? But I think the beauty of that as well was you could still see in the performances that by and large the crux of the performance were actually really good.
We could see, and I think all the supporters could see, the progression on the field. There were moments in matches where we played fantastic football, and the supporters had a crucial part to play in encouraging the team to keep going and to build towards the ultimate goal.
Ange continued his rebuild and turned to an experienced pro from the English Premier League as his last line of defence.
I had a year left at Tottenham. I got told in pretty much no uncertain terms by the manager at the time there that he had no interest in me being involved in his plans. So obviously Spurs wanted me out. I think they made a few people aware, and obviously Celtic showed interest. So me and Ange had a pretty upfront conversation.
I had to get guys who I felt maybe had a point to prove, who maybe haven't had the right opportunity or the right environment for them to sort of flourish. Players who were ambitious, they had to be coming here for the same sort of reasons probably that I came here, is that there is an opportunity to build something special and a platform to do that. And that's your major motivation.
Finish it, forward! Well done.
I knew it was going to be a challenge because the style of play, like I say, is so reliant on the goalkeeper doing things very specifically. And Ange was very insistent that we got Joe Hart and we got him to play this way.
Yeah! Hit something, Joe! Make a play! No!
It was about picking the right players to play the football I want, but also the right kind of personalities. Because when you're building a team and you're building an environment, you're building a culture, you're building a dressing room, the person is just as important as the player.
And then in August, the supporters had a chance to see the potential of Ange Postecoglou's football philosophies.
There's Kyogo! He looks up, he finds Kyogo! It's as easy as that for Celtic! And it's a chance for Tom Rogic! Oh, it's a lovely reverse pass! And there's the hat-trick from Kyogo! The cross is a good one. Ralston is there! What a goal! No problem from French Eddie. 6 of the best for Celtic.
Well, I still cannot believe it. I was happy to score 3 goals in this home game. Despite the stadium not being full, a lot of people came and I had a great debut. My teammates provided me a number of passes and I just needed to finish. I really appreciate my teammates.
The feeling around Celtic Park when we got fans back into the stadium after more than a year was amazing. From the first few matches where there was limited attendance, but when we got the restrictions lifted, the atmosphere in the stadium for this match against St Mirren was amazing. It was emotional. You could feel the release, the relief, the delight to be back in the stadium, able to support the team. It was a fantastic moment for all Celtic supporters.
I could see early on with the Dundee game and the St Mirren game, there were certainly signs that we were going to be a top side. It was just about perfecting what we were trying to do.
You need everyone to buy in, and no one's going to buy in unless they see evidence of what we're talking about. So I think even before those 6-0s, I think even though results weren't great, people saw elements of what we were trying to do, particularly at a rocky time. Having such convincing victories helped us.
The summer transfer window was drawing to a close as Ange looked to strengthen his attacking options in the shape of a highly rated young Portuguese winger.
It was something in the last minute, actually. The opportunity just came and I took it. I thought it was going to be like a good challenge for me, a nice place to develop. I've grown up in Portugal playing this style of game, like just pressing, try to steal the ball in high areas, just score fast.
Good pressing again, now Celtic are forward and they have men up. Oh, Turnbull, oh that's class. That is absolute class from David Turnbull.
Wherever we are, like just take the opportunities, go like rock and roll style of game.
You've got to commit. This type of football, you can't be half in, half out or even 80-90% in. You have to be totally committed. It probably took us a little while to get used to that one. But I think quickly once he got his message across, he had everyone buying in pretty early on.
Ball speed's very important for us. Ball speed's number one. What does that mean? When we pass it with purpose. We need movement so the next pass is always available and not too many touches on the ball. We move together as a team. Once we get to the front third, then we've got to be super sharp, super efficient, attack the box, score our goals.
If you look at the best club teams in the world, it is kind of based on speed, forward runs, moments when the ball changes hands. These are huge parts of the game, and that's a big part of the manager's philosophy.
It's very fitting from what the Celtic support expect, that fast, free-flowing, attacking football, and all the best Celtic teams always produce that.
I think the beauty of our football is when people come and watch us play, players play with the freedom to play the game the way they want to play it. So you need your players to be able to find solutions, play the game on the run while they're out there. Our job, my job, is to give them the tools to do that.
The manager completed his transfer dealings at the close of the window with the signing of a Greek striker who'd been making a name for himself in Holland.
Well, I had a very good season personally in Holland. I was the top scorer of the league. When a club like that comes to you and offers you a contract, then you have to sign. It's a big honour. It's a big pleasure for me to play here.
The league form remained a bit inconsistent in terms of results, which meant that an early kick-off visit to Pataudry on the first Sunday in October took on an importance of its own.
There's the chance, and there's the opening goal for Celtic.
You could still see that the performance was there, and it was just a case of, you know, let's try and fine-tune this into where we want it to be, and we just get that sort of big result. I think, you know, the Aberdeen one was probably the one that I would pinpoint to say, well, you know, the group of players now believe that we can play this way and win.
We were doing some passes on the left side, Monty, Tom, Bull, and then Monty just went straight, and I knew, okay, this is like my movement now, I have to go. Those are the kind of things we do in training, so in the pitch, after that, it's just natural.
There's certain things we needed to break through the narrative of, and one was, well, we hadn't won away since I think the previous February, and we lost our first 3 away games. So you know that in this league you've got to win away from home if you're going to be champions. So I think really instilled a belief in the group about, you know, we can do this away from home, play our football and take it to teams and get the result.
Sadly, there soon came news of the passing of a great Celt.
All turning in, all scored. Bertie Auld equalises for Celtic on the half-hour mark.
Bertie, absolute club legend. Don't think you can meet a nicer guy. He was always laughing, always joking, telling stories. You know, you could never shut him up, and he was just the life and soul of the place. To lose him was a huge, huge loss. You know, obviously for the family, but for the Celtic family as well. You know, it's something that'll, you know, stay with everybody forever. And what Bertie and his mates did, incredible achievement for the club. And like I said, that'll live in the history of the club forever.
Fittingly, the surrounds of Paradise were mobbed on the day Bertie took his final journey, as Celtic supporters turned out in numbers to pay their respects.
It's a great ball, it must be, it's a finish for Abada. 20 minutes on the clock here in Dingwall, and that's exactly what Celtic have needed. Here comes a corner, and it is an equaliser for Ross County, and it's their captain, Keith Watson. One final push. Corner kick from David Turnbull. We're almost on 96 minutes. It's a good delivery. It's headed clear. The shot comes in. It's blocked. Celtic still have it. They need to get the ball in the box. Rogic. It's a good cross. It's a chance. It's a goal! Yeah! Anthony Ralston for Celtic in the 97th minute.
Anthony Ralston's 97th minute winner ensured that Celtic did not slip 6 points behind their rivals.
It was a bit mental. To this day, my best career moment, you know, my grand always says to me that he watches it back all the time, and with my gran and stuff like that.
It felt a big moment, I don't know why, and speaking to my family after it, etc., they were just like, that's going to be important come the end, and sure enough it was.
I guess it's moments like that in football in general that just make you realise it's a pretty special game, and Tony's somebody who'll put his body on the line, I think, in any moment, so I was just able to hang it up at the back post, and he was the one who attacked it.
The main thing from that was that it contributed to the team in a positive way in a moment where we needed it.
December was also the month when Celtic had the chance of some early silverware, and Ange addressed his squad with deliberation.
He's really motivational when he speaks. I think he likes the psychology aspect of football as well, and try to get inside boys' heads and motivate them, and he's very, very good at that.
We know about this. This is our game. This is the stuff in our control, irrespective of the occasion, irrespective of the opponent. These things we deliver, and we'll deliver today. Okay? These are the things that, these are our values. These are the things that we lean upon every day, every training session, every game. And they're all got to do with us
being absolutely firm in our belief about something, about our football. And it is a special occasion today and an opportunity to create some history for yourselves, for this football club, for your families. It's about you today. Go out there as a group. We threw you together as a group of guys, and you've come out of it as men and a family of men. There's nothing out there today that you can't overcome. And you will create your own history. As I said, you'll share it with everyone. But this first one, it's yours. And I'll make it known definitely that it's yours. It's not about me or anyone else, it's you. You've done this. You've ignored all the logic and all the outside noise that tells you can't do what we've done to get to here. So you go out there today as a group, as a family, you smash what's before us, and you put a flag in the ground that's, this is ours. All right, good luck, boys.
We don't need to do anything different, eh? The reason why we've been successful is because we've done all the stuff that we do. Just keep doing it, keep believing in it. If anything today, you believe in it even more. You believe in each other even more. You trust each other even more. I guarantee you we've got enough ability, enough heart, enough desire in this room to come back in with that trophy, eh? Like I said, at big clubs, you're tasked to win. We've got to be winners, eh? This group, we've got winners in this group, we just keep going. We go and show everybody that never gave us a chance at the start of the season. We're saying top 6. Now we can go and win a trophy at first time asking. That's how good this group is. So let's go and prove it today.
You walk out there today, boys, feeling 10 feet tall. You know why? Because you're wearing a shirt and you're representing a club that's achieved the greatest of achievements. And you stand on the shoulders of the players who have achieved all that before you. So you walk out there feeling invincible, 10 feet tall. At the end of the game, Cal lifts up the trophy and you walk back in here, you're going to be a little bit taller because you'll be standing on what you created, on what you did, and you'll have added to this football club. Good luck, boys, come on.
Well, the anticipation reaching peak levels, the volume turned up, the nerves buzzing amongst the players. Hanlon to attack it! And the opening goal of the final, scored by Paul Hanlon!
Going behind in a cup final is always difficult. I think at that time as well, if we didn't score back straight away, I think it would have become a little bit more edgy as well. And the good thing is, we'd been working on that set piece from kick-off all season.
We know where the spaces are, yeah? Get ourselves organised early, so move to where the space is, give yourself an opportunity. There will always be space. But there are spaces out there we can exploit, and the key is get it under control and then we go. Don't look for it to feet, just go. Just go. Sprint, sprint, sprint.
Kyogo's in looking to respond straight away! Hips appeal for offside! The flag stays down! The response from Celtic could not have been quicker!
Well, I like that everybody remembers that goal. In my opinion, catching up the score right after conceding a goal and scoring a goal from a quick restart, we could express our football, which we had been working on during the season. The reason why I scored a goal in such an important game was team effort. I just needed to finish.
Free kick goes against Hanlon.
We always kind of work on keeping the tempo high, and we like to, I guess, take things quickly and quick restarts. And I think we just made eye contact, and I knew he was going to make that dart in behind. And
Kyogo in again! How good is that? A phenomenal finish from an unbelievable player. Hibernian, who played the 5 additional minutes, but sets up Newell. What a hit, what a save! What drama at the end! They're getting ready to celebrate once again. They got so used to the feeling of winning trophies. Celtic are back in the business of delivering trophies.
I think that's a really big moment. Anyone who's new to a club, big moment for the manager. To have proof in what you're doing straight away just gives you a little bit of breathing space. And not that we needed it, but I think it was important.
Callum McGregor will hold it aloft. Celtic are the Premier Sports Cup winners.
To lift my first trophy as captain was honestly the best feeling ever. Super proud moment for myself and obviously my family as well.
We were delighted for Callum to lift his first trophy as Celtic captain. Callum's given so much to Celtic over the years, and this year he stepped in and has led us in a fantastic way.
More importantly, it was about the team as well, you know, to get the first one together, and as a group, you know, everybody goes, right, we can be successful here and everything we're doing is working.
We had to get back to winning ways. Celtic can't go too long without winning silverware. The manner of winning the game showed the character and determination of the team and gave us a taste of what was to come.
It was perfect for me because, I said at the outset that this football club cannot go 2 seasons without success. It just cannot happen. As a club, our football was pretty good. It was just before we sort of got really hit with massive injuries. So it was Kyogo and Dave Turnbull's last games, before lengthy absence, but they were in great form at the time. And we keep going down this path, more to come. We give our supporters the joy that we needed to this year. And that gave us the platform then to say, okay, well, whatever we build from now on is going to be a bonus because we've had the success already. So it was perfect timing for us.
In the winter break, Ange quickly tied up Daisen Maeda, with whom he had worked with before at Yokohama F. Marinos. At the same time, he added Ryo Hatate and Yusuke Itaguchi, also from the Japanese league, whilst at the end of the month, he moved to bring Matt O'Reilly from MK Dons.
January ended up being a real pivotal month for us, I think. The group we got together up until then was doing remarkably well, but we were relying on too few. That was very evident. It's why we were getting injuries.
Hatate. But it's opened up for him to have a go. Oh, wow! How did he have a go? That is simply stunning!
Sitting down with Michael and the club and Chris and thinking, okay, well, we're going to have to do business in January. Let's do it early. I know what I need. I know what I want. To the club's credit, they backed me 100%.
We had done a lot of work in the summer and that work doesn't stop. Along with Ange, we identified a particular market where we believed there was an opportunity as their season was coming to an end, and we were able to get those deals done early, put us in a great spot for the second half of the season.
Tom Rogic, chance for Maeda! The perfect start to his Celtic career!
As we work together in Japan, we know each other well. He knows my play style and private life. How should I say? I feel like he's my father.
The guys got in early, they hit the ground running, and if you look at the impact they all made as soon as the resumption, take them away from the equation, because then, the likes of Kyogo and Turnbull and all these guys were still out at that time. There's no chance we would have been able to be successful.
The new recruits had, as the manager said, hit the ground running, and a Rangers draw at Ross County meant that the Celts could close the gap to just 2 points, provided they could beat Dundee United at home.
And here comes Celtic again as the fourth official goes to gather his board down the right-hand side.
It's a chance for Abada! He scored! Abada has scored! We're into added time! And Celtic have the breakthrough!
The injury time winner against Dundee United set the Celts up for a midweek derby night showdown under the lights of paradise.
We know that winning takes us top for the first time of the year, but also you know that defeat probably means we won't be able to bridge the gap because it would have been 5 points. The atmosphere that night was just unbelievable. The way we played that night, I thought there was nothing going to stop us after that.
He's gone and scored again after his wonder goal at Hearts.
I think he probably started better than what anyone would have imagined, but he's certainly got that quality. You can see it, you know, the way he passes the ball, he proper punches it in, and that night everything sort of came together perfectly for him as well.
Asante again! And again! What a start to his Celtic career! Tate, Abada! It gets better and better and better!
Just seemed like everything came together in the first half of that game. That sort of set the tone, I think, for the second half of the season as well.
And apart from the captain and Greg Taylor, remarkably, 9 of the 11 starters in Paradise that night had been brought to the club by Ange.
The whole night had something special about it. The way our supporters, right from before the whistle started, and the way the players responded to that there was going to be something special.
Celtic have issued a statement here, and it looks like we will be in for a fascinating title race.
And we hadn't won anything by that point, so it was just important that, you know, you kept a lid on it. And I said that to the players, you know, enjoy this. Doesn't happen very often in terms of nighttime games, derby matches, so, you know, really enjoy it and soak it in, but just don't go too far because, you know, nothing's happened yet.
The momentum was now with the Hoops, but the 1-point lead was slender and could turn very easily in the duration of a single game.
Great delivery, and there's the finish from Jota, right on 16 minutes. McGregor, great movement from Maeda. Shot comes in from Matt O'Reilly. Oh, that one is back to Ramirez. And Aberdeen have found themselves a goal. And it comes from Ojo. And it's met by the head of Lewis Ferguson. Now Celtic know they've got a game on their hands now. That's a lovely pass though to Greg Taylor. Inside him is Jota. He just couldn't get the ball under control. It's back into the area. A chance for Jota! And Celtic are back in front.
I think in games like that, specifically against teams like Aberdeen who are really tough, it's really good to score and to assist and to get the win. And that's what we are looking for in those kind of matches.
Yorgos Giakoumakis was now playing his part. None more so on a day when, with Rangers having slipped up in the early kick-off, the Celts could go 3 points clear.
It was very, very frustrating time because from the start of the season, played 1-2 games and it just happened with my knee. I had to make a surgery, an operation. I was about to lose the next 3 months. It was a really tough period for me.
Ralston, oh what a chance, and it's a goal! And it's a hat-trick for Giakoumakis!
I just exploded because of my passion. It was 2-2, the score was equal, and it was the last minutes of the game, so I just took off my t-shirt and my wife almost killed me. But yeah, I remember also that on the celebrations, Ralston, full of passion, he came on me and he jumped on me. At this time I felt that he broke my neck, but after all I was okay. So,
Why was your wife not happy?
Because I showed my body. And no,
She doesn't like your body?
That's the fact. That's the fact that everyone else saw my body, so.
As the Hoops approached the business end of the season and with players returning, it was clear that Ange Postecoglou was getting the blend just right.
I think the struggle is when you're trying to bring in different cultures, different values, and you're trying to make them conform into something that you think they need to be. So just allowing people to be themselves, but with a, like I said, a common belief, a common sort of cause in that, I think helps you create a good dressing room.
Coming in probably on his own is probably the thing that stands out above most, because
It's the way he likes to operate in terms of getting the best out of people and probably getting the best out of himself.
You watch him at Celtic FC, you are watching a fast-paced game, quick movement of the ball, all of the things that I believe he's learned himself from some of the greats of football like Ferenc Puskas, and he's taken them to another level.
Everywhere he goes, he's a winner. He will make the whole football club at Celtic believe that they can win any tournament, cup that they go into. He'll want to take the game to the opposition and believe that it leads in silverware.
It really is exciting watching his coaching style at Celtic FC, and is he getting the results that he deserves.
To achieve success, though, the manager had to take Celtic to Ibrox in early April, knowing that a win would stretch their lead at the top of the table to 6 points.
Going to Ibrox is not easy, and they hadn't lost there for quite a while, and some good teams have been through there.
Even in the days leading up to the game, I was trying to, get a hold of the players and say this is going to be frantic first 10 minutes, settle into the game, do things properly, and of course, nobody listened. So.
Ryan Kent is round the back, and it's turned in!
We had 700 there supporting us who sounded like 7,000, and the players again found something inside them to rise to that occasion and take that challenge on.
Terrific this from McGregor, and Rogic! It's blocked! Atate! McGregor saves, and Rogic has put it away! And how about that for a rapid response from Celtic?
When I took that first touch forward, normally I'm one touch pass or whatever, but the game just seemed to open up, and I thought, right, there's a gap, and you just drive through it, and then next thing you know, you're sort of in the box.
There wasn't too much going through my head other than, all right, we're back in the game, we're 1-1, let's just focus and get back to playing the way we know how, and the way that's given us so much success to date.
And it's Cameron Carter-Vickers who has tucked it away!
I cannot control my passion. I loved it so much, this goal. I felt like I scored. I had a great relationship with Cameron, and I was really happy with him.
You could sense the players felt the confidence within that to say this game's ours, and the defensive display in the second half was first class. Everybody putting their head and their feet, where it mattered, and blocking things and putting their bodies on the line, and it was a different side to us as well that we've shown that we can do that.
If someone says, that's okay, we got Joe in goal, that's enough for me. That's enough. I like to be a constant. I like to be someone that people can trust. I like players to feel comfortable around me, and if people feel comfortable around me, that's enough.
Celtic take one big step, one giant leap towards the title.
When you win in their home, the victory is it's massive. And honestly, I think this was the biggest win we had this year.
That day just cemented to the boys that they're not going to let this go. Everyone's thrown everything at them, and even at Ibrox when Rangers, the closest rival, was throwing everything at them, they still couldn't knock us over. And I think from then on, the players just were bulletproof. They just felt whatever's going to happen, we've got this.
The countdown to the title was on, and with the final Glasgow derby of the season on the horizon, Celtic went to Dingwall again, looking to maintain their 6-point advantage.
Great ball, what a chance, what a goal! And who else? It's Kyogo! Well, he's back in the starting lineup this afternoon for the first time since December.
During the time I could not play football or be with my teammates, I was frustrated because we could not play together. However, the manager and teammates told me to stay close to the team, so that made me glad. Watching everyone fighting, working hard gave me energy. I wanted to get back to the pitch as soon as possible. I got support and help, and I feel happy and thankful for that.
Inside the final 4 minutes of the game. Good first touch, and a chance! And it's off the bar, and it's brought home by Jota for a second goal for Celtic!
It was a bit late, to be honest. I know maybe the hearts of the Celtic supporters were not good that moment, but ours was, and I think that's the most important thing, yeah. I just go mental, I just go blind, and I don't even care. I just want to celebrate, and whatever comes to my mind, I just do it. As I've been telling before, this is like a marathon. So these games don't decide either if we are champions or they are champions.
Midas cross! And Jota is there to score!
Every game is important, so of course that game was really important in this last stage of the season, but all the others are as important as that.
Later that night, the Celtic support reflected on another foreign coach who had attained legendary status by securing the double within his first season. At the Celtic Player of the Year evening, his family accepted the Special Recognition Award to remember Wim Jansen.
I actually got a text message a couple of weeks ago, I think it was maybe doing its rounds on social media, but just how similar the two seasons were, goal scorers and all these things like score lines, and Celtic went on and did a cup double, and it was incredible, you know, just reading it. I was like, seems as if it was photoshopped a wee bit, but it was actually brilliant to read.
Other notable awards that evening went to Lille Abada, who was named Young Player of the Year after a breakthrough season, whilst the top goal scorer award went to Kyogo, who also picked up the goal of the season for his instinctive lob in the Premier Sports Cup final. However, on the night, just as with the Scottish PFA, Callum McGregor was the choice of his fellow professionals as Players' Player of the Year, and the Celtic support for Player of the Year.
So it's always nice to get that recognition, but you know, I'm not one of these guys that like to take, you know, these individual efforts. You know, my game's based around making sure the team perform.
I think Callum identified early that his first responsibility as captain was to be the best player he could possibly be. And then after that is to lead in his way, not to try and be Scott or try and be anyone else. As much as he admired those people, you know, I think he was comfortable enough in his own skin to say, well, I'll do it my way.
I remember I was doing some medical exams in Paris. I got a text from Callum McGregor saying like, just welcome to the club, whatever you need, just to tell us, we are here to help you. And I was just very, very good welcome.
The one thing he has done is been true to himself. There was nobody better, certainly in our eyes as a staff. The manager obviously wanted to assess it, but there was nobody better that was going to be the next captain of the football club than Callum.
And he's been a hell of a find in terms of coming through our academy and coming in to be a crucial part of, you know, what Celtic is and the success we've had. But again, it's another step, you know, in terms of taking on that responsibility of being Celtic captain. You think of the players who have done it in the past, you know, huge names.
He's an icon to everybody that supports the club, and there's certainly nobody any better at this moment in time than Callum.
And again, for someone who comes from a very good family, I think it shows, you know, he's very humble, he's very assured, he's, again, fitting in the values of this club.
With 3 games left to play, a 6-point lead, and with a goal difference of +19, it was clear that a win at home to Hearts would take Celtic to the very threshold of the title.
In terms of them, wide areas, they've got some tricky ones, Mackay in particular. So again, in wide areas, we know the constant is we want to be aggressive, but we don't want to overcommit. So hold it there. So when you're getting out here, we don't want to stand here. Because if we stand here, they'll get into the box or they'll cross. We don't want to do that. We want to get close enough where we get their head down, they can't cross the ball, and they can't dribble us. And then their next option is they've got to go back. If they go back, then we can squeeze up and put pressure on them. So don't overcommit. At the same time, we can't be passive. Don't let them in the box. Stay strong in here. Make sure we've got our 3 defenders plus 1 or 2 midfielders. Might even be a winger who needs to be in there. We haven't been beholden or attached to the result all year. What does that mean? That means that if that's the most important thing, if we're just chasing a result today, if we're just chasing a win so we can get another bit closer, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? What's going to happen is that at 0-0 we'll be nervous. At 1-0 down, we're going to think, oh, we've got to do something different. At 1-0 up, oh, we've got to hold on to 1-0. And we haven't done that all year. Have not done that all year. What we have done is focused on what's important to us, what we believe in. We want to put in our best performance today, play our best football today. I want us to get to that finish line smashing through it. We can do it. You've got it in you. You've got the energy, you've got the football ability, you've got the commitment, you've got the attitude, you've got the togetherness, you've got everything. Now, how often do you see in bloody marathons, guys are exhausted, but the winner, you know, when he gets to that last 10 metres, he finds that energy just to run through that line. We've done the marathon, we're down in the last 10 metres, we can see the finish line. No one's catching us, trust me, no one's catching us. All we need to do is win, but is that enough for us? No, it never has been. That's what we want to do, that's our intent, that's what we're going to try and do, and that's what we will do. All right, let's go.
Okay.
Get their heads down, make them hit aimless balls, and they can come again and again.
Hardy, organised behind it, mate. Yeah. Be on it, boys.
Structure of the team's always there, eh? Structure's there to help us. Give yourself to the team, don't be selfish. Keep passing the ball. Play with intensity. Come on, shoot every game with them, eh? 3 games to go. You don't want to be finished, eh? We're building something special. So you've got 3 games to go. You get over the line. But you got one eye on next year as well, eh? We come back, we keep working together. Do not come off it, eh? Always the standards, always set the standards. Within the group, it's been so good, eh? Do not come off it the last 3 games. Go and lift that trophy in a couple of weeks' time, eh? It'll be worth it, all the hard work, all the sacrifice, everything we do for each other, it'll be worth it, eh? So we got to play like that today. Play with that intensity, like it means everything to you. Come on, we do that, we'll be absolutely fine, come on.
Okay, hey? Standards. Let's keep talking about it, yeah? Now the shirt you wear demands certain standards. It has expectations on you every time you put it on. What kind of team we are, what kind of people we are. And that's what we bring. That's what we add when we put this shirt on. What this team is doing. What this team has done. What this team is about to do. You care for each other. You care for this football club. You care about everything that this football club means. You represent the shirt, you represent our fans, and you present those who love you. You make them proud today. Good luck.
Yeah, come on, let's go.
Stuck in, guys. Come on, lads. Let's go, let's go.
Let's go, come on. Let's go, boys, come on.
You could sense, even in the stadium amongst the fans, that there was a nervousness there. Let's just get this over and done with, and you go a goal behind.
Helped on by Boyce, and Ellis Sims, hearts ahead, inside 3 minutes.
And what you're looking for is reaction. Yeah? And if you could sort of snapshot our season into 95 minutes, well, that's it. We got a real slow start, but what a finish.
Jota for Maida! And on the half hour, Celtic are level. O'Reilly, Jota's coming in. Was it over the line? Yes, it was. It's been given. And the champions in waiting might not be waiting for much longer. Here's O'Reilly. And it's a third for Celtic. Giakoumakis, Hatate, it's a good save. Abada didn't get there ahead of Cochrane, but it's swept in anyway by Giakoumakis. This game didn't start too well for Celtic, but then nor did this season. But now they are hurtling towards the title.
A comprehensive destruction of hearts meant that as Celtic took to the pitch for a midweek fixture against Dundee United at Tannadice, the mission was clear. 1 point and they would be champions.
Here's Liel Abada, now Anthony Ralston trying to take it to the byline, does well, a great cross. And it's finally the opening goal for Celtic!
I'm really happy that I scored this goal. It was incredible. We celebrated with the fans. Our supporters are unbelievable. I think they are unique. I'm really grateful to them. We are really happy that we have them beside us.
Freeman with the cross. Comes back off the post. What a saving challenge that is.
It hurt. It did hurt at the time, even with the adrenaline. And in that moment, I started shouting because, you know, there's a lot of emotion that goes into it and things. And Joe done the same back, and then he just started flinging some haymakers at my chest.
Tony is someone who caught my eye straight away with the way that he plays, with the way that he tackles, with the way that he commits. It's the kind of player that's not necessarily in the game so much anymore. You know, that was a big moment in the game. I thought I'd give him a few jabs.
The first few were fine, and then it was kind of the last one, which was like a right hook. It kind of caught me, and even in that moment I went, that was quite sore. Like, that was a hard one.
Oh, long range effort. What a strike that is. It's the first title at the first time of asking for Ange Postecoglou. His reign as Celtic manager begins in the most perfect fashion.
And then when the final whistle went, you know, the sort of result just went totally out of my head, and I was just absolutely delighted, buzzing.
Looking back over the course of the season, the different challenges that we had at different times, you know, I'm very proud. It's a terrific feeling.
We always have an idea that Celtic is a massive club with tremendous supporters. I'm very fortunate to be a player and to be inside the pitch, just feeling all the emotions and ecstasy about everything.
It was my first time winning a league title. I was happy from the bottom of my heart to have the result of what we have been working towards during this season together. It was an away game, but we were well received by our supporters. I was delighted.
Ange has brought the Scottish Premier League to Australia. We're all watching Celtic FC now, at home, talking about it at work and at the pub. This is the beauty of having someone from our country overseas, and he's basically brought international football to us directly.
The fact that they've got a couple of songs about me makes it special. Yeah. No doubt after a few pints, some creative guys found a couple of that would fit in, and you know, I've had messages from all around the world, you know, from Celtic supporters clubs from the far reaches of the globe, and you kind of know all of them you know, love this football club, very passionate, but you know, I love that. I mean, to me that was the biggest appeal. I was joining a club of great historical perspective, but also global significance now in terms of football clubs, that they're everywhere, you know, and they're equally invested wherever they are.
Popping and spray!
Let's go, lads! 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Finish us! Let's go, you know!
For us to be champions this year, where we started from, is just it's just an incredible achievement, incredible feat, and it's a credit to every one of you. I had a tough year last year. The guys, Cal and Tommy, the boys who were here last year will tell you, it's a tough year. Our supporters weren't at the stadium. So they had the one thing that's, for a lot of them, they had one thing in their life that's just a little bit lower than their family, and that's this football club. It was taken away from them. What you made them feel today is something that they don't care. Like I keep saying, how much money they have or what they, you know, what else is in their life. You've made them feel like the richest people in the world. And it's a credit to you. Like I said, I've done a lot of my career, boys, but this effort you guys have put in this last sort of 10 months has been unbelievable. I couldn't be prouder of you. Yeah, I'm just waffling now. So anyway, we'll enjoy it next couple of days. As I said, I'm not giving you tomorrow off because I said you'll have plenty of time away from me after the weekend, and you know we'll enjoy the next few days, including Saturday. I want to make sure you guys really appreciate what you've achieved. You know, don't look at me. I'm a miserable old sod, and I'll just walk away. But you guys enjoy it because you deserve it. All right. Proud of all of you.
There was a real party atmosphere, but we knew, obviously, you know, it's an hour and a half back. It's a Wednesday night, whatever, and then they said that the crowd's starting to build, and we were like, you know, that's great, but we didn't really have much to offer. And then when we walked out, and it was chaos, but it was good chaos, all good spirit.
Too many people celebrating with us and shouting, and it was something unbelievable. It was one of the moments that I will always remember.
The supporters are the fabric of the club, and especially for the new players to experience something like that shows them just how big this club is and just what it feels like to the supporters to be a winner.
We've done the hard part throughout the season. We've been on a brilliant run, 30-31 unbeaten, so I think we're fully deserving of winning the title, and then to get the job done was that nice moment, celebrate with the fans, and then we've got Saturday to look forward to.
I want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart for all the support you've given me, the players, and everyone else. And we'll enjoy tonight, and then we'll come back Saturday, and we'll enjoy it again. Thanks very much, and see you on Saturday. Yeah.
With the title secured, the team could look forward to Trophy Day in paradise, whilst also saying goodbye to some valued friends.
Diogo picks up! Oh, yes! Turnbull, lovely play from Turnbull! A top from Ralston towards Kyogo! That's 3-0, and we're not even in half-time. Chance, and it's a goal! It's a fourth for Celtic, Shota! After 9 years and 18 trophies. There's definitely some tears there. As every single player, including Joe Hart, embraces Tom Rogic, every single fan, to a man, woman and child, is on their feet. Oh yes! Oh! It's an overhead kick from Giakoumakis to make it 5. This is a special afternoon. Well, there are tears for Tom Rogic coming off. I'm sure there'll be tears for Neil Beaton when he comes on, and it will be Callum McGregor, and I think he'll give the armband to Beaton. 9 years at the club, 16 major honours in a Celtic jersey. Neil Beaton has done his bit. Oh, Maeda, chance at the far post. Oh yes, it's a second goal for Giakoumakis, and a Celtic. And that will be the final goal of a title-winning season. A good way to put a seal on the 90 minutes, which have now come and gone.
It's been a hell of a journey for me. A lot of ups and downs, mostly ups. Very successful period of my life. I came here as a young boy, and I end this journey with a family, with 2 kids and soon 3. And honestly, I couldn't share this journey with other people. So I really want to say thank you, boys, for being there, for bringing this club to where it belongs after what we've been through last season. And I just want to thank you for everything and all the best next season.
I don't want to cry again, but you will. No, just thanks to everyone. It's been an amazing time here. Some of you I've only met this year, others have been around 1.5 years. So I'm going to miss you all. I'm going to miss every day coming in. I'm just really happy we finished on the high note as champions, and everyone, players, staff. I'm going to miss you all. Love you guys.
For one last time, carrying the Cinch Premiership Trophy itself, please welcome Neil Beaton and Tom Lynch. And now, it's time to welcome the captain of the champions and the Cinch Premiership champions, Callum McGregor and Celtic! The saying is, we never stop. I know you're ready to go again, but how much does it mean to you personally? First time as club captain.
Yeah, it's a dream come true for me, but I couldn't have done it without any of the staff, any of the players. You know, they've been first class. Like you said, it's a dream come true.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, he'll now go and collect his medal. The Celtic captain, Callum McGregor. The next man was due on the flight back to Australia sometime around Christmas, but he decided to see this one out. He is now a Wizard of Oz. Please welcome Ange. Ange, as I said in the build-up there were many in Scotland who had almost written you off after a handful of games here. So I'm going to leave it to you to see what this means to you, what it means for your squad, and what it means for this club going forward.
Champions, that's who we are. I just want to thank everyone involved, from the board, management. I've got the best staff in the land, unbelievable effort. I've got a group of players who have been unbelievable, champions of Scotland and well deserved. And for you, the best on the planet, Unbelievable. You've embraced me, you've embraced my family, you've embraced this jumper, and I want everyone to enjoy today, enjoy the summer, and we'll come back bigger, better, because we never stop. Ange Postecoglou!
What an amazing feeling, super proud moment for everyone, for myself, more importantly for the club, you know, to get it back in the trophy cabinet after a difficult season last year. The group of players, the manager, the staff, everybody has come together in a huge effort.
That moment will stay with me and everyone involved for the rest of our lives. And I can revisit that moment, and, you know, whoever I talk to about it will bring those feelings back, and that's where the gold lies. That's why we do what we do.
It was a really great achievement for Ange, the players, the staff and the supporters, and we pulled together this season to deliver the league title back where it belongs.
My dad, in his mind, this was the end game, to get to a big club in Europe. And Celtic's definitely in that category, and he would be enormously proud.
With so many new players, I think what you get is a freshness and a hunger to do well. That's where the magic lies. It lies with everybody doing that little bit extra, and that's why you become champions.
Quite rightly, for guiding Celtic to a Premier Sports Cup and the Scottish Cinch Premiership, Ange Postecoglou picked up no less than 3 Manager of the Year awards across the country.
The individual stuff is nice, but they're nice for me and the group and my family, but you know, you want to share in something special, and the special stuff is the stuff you do collective, you know, winning trophies for this football club, because then that involves staff, players, everyone involved, our supporters. They're the truly special things that drive you.
Of course, winning title is amazing. However, his personality is even more special. He's a man with a talent to cheer others up. This is, I think, what makes him special.
You could see that connection between the supporters, Ange and the team, that was so important to our progress throughout the season.
Ange has brought an identity to the club, the way he wants to play football, the vision that he has for his football teams, and to see that it works, you know, pretty much everywhere he goes.
The only award I was really favourite for was to be sacked by Christmas, and I didn't win that one, so I've done all right.
Some would say more than all right, when you consider that Celtic scored 92 goals in securing the title. A remarkable 67 of those goals came from 10 new signings. From the 19th of September, Ange's men went on a 32-game unbeaten run until the end of the campaign, with 26 victories and only 6 draws, the form of worthy champions.
It's a type of football I feel most players want to play. It's attacking, you're always on the ball, creating chances, and I think our fans this season have seen that.
It's about believing in the team, believing in our philosophy, and that it's not just about getting a result on a Saturday, it's about something more than that, it's the performance.
We had to build one day at a time, one game at a time. I think we did that. You know, we didn't panic at the start when things weren't necessarily going our way off the back of a difficult season. Trusted the process, believed in what the manager had for us, and we've done well.
It was what I needed, to be honest. I was looking for this in my short career, so I'm just fortunate to be here and to be a Celtic player.
I was determined to create a football team that would play football that our supporters would love and be proud of, and our players would buy into, and I want a better version of that next year. Now, you know, this version got us into a pretty good space. A better version, I think, will get us into a better space.
In season 2021-22, Celtic had been relentless in their pursuit of the silverware. Last-minute winners, coming from behind, and the high-tempo, high-pressure football demanded by the manager sent the message out loud and clear to everyone. We never stop.
team in Scotland. Hail, hail, the Saints are here!
Across, yes! And the goal from Jota! It's a chance, it's a goal! Kyogo is for the long! Beauty! Atati again, another goal! Ball breaks in the box, a chance and it's a goal! Cross and a chance finally, Giakoumakis with the finish.
I've got a group of players who have been unbelievable, champions of Scotland and well deserved. We'll come back bigger, better, because we never stop.